This third one is your kid won't find a spouse. And it's something that we hear all the time.
People will comment that too. Like, I wouldn't have met my wife in college, or I wouldn't have met my husband if I hadn't gone to college. I'm like, well, that's because that's where you were when you were 21 years old and dating. That's true of anybody. Like, if you met your spouse at the YMCA when you're 21, it's because you were 21 years old, single, and at the YMCA. It's a silly thing to have to explain. Like, well, yeah, but that's when you were single and dating. So wherever you were single and dating is where you're going to meet your spouse.
Yeah, this is something that we were just talking about off camera when we were looking at this, is I was thinking about the girls that I dated. I dated girls from literally two places. I dated them from work, and then I dated them from a bar. That was literally it. And the reason why, and you and I were just talking about this, is because when I was dating, those were the places that I went. I went to work, and I went to a bar, and then I went home.
And those were the only places that you existed. Sometimes you went to a ramen shop. So I guess theoretically you could have met somebody there.
You're absolutely right. Subway, ramen shop, but I wouldn't want to date anybody that frequented the ramen shop as much as I frequented.
That's pretty judgmental, dude.
If you're in here as much as me,
it's not a good fit.
Your life is on a downward trajectory, just like mine.
Anecdotally too, and it's funny, but like where we met was at work. We met at work because a lot of people do. And so funny, when I said that to a couple people in the comments, I said, people meet at work. And they were like, no, most people meet at college. That's not even sort of true. And I just had the instinct, the common sense to know that just can't functionally, mathematically, that cannot be true. And then sure enough, when we looked it up, there's a video that we'll link in the show notes that shows actually the trajectory of how people have met their spouses from 1930 to 2024, which I think is fairly interesting.
So show notes for everybody, degreefree.co/podcast. You can get the show notes.
It's a minute. It's interesting. I think it's a fun video. And then the point that I wanted to make, and you'll see it when you look at the graphs, nobody meets on college campuses anymore. Literally no one. Approximately, as of 2020, approximately 5% or less of couples met their spouse online. That was 2020. Okay, that's now 5 years ago. So as of 2024, do you want to guess how many people meet their spouse in college?
Well, I know it's low. I didn't look at the whole brief. I'm going to say 2%.
It is 0.74%. So less than 1% of people meet their spouse on a college campus. Guess what? Good news, everybody. Your child does not need to go into $104,000 to $156,000 of student debt to meet a spouse the way that people meet their spouses